Um, Welcome. If you like this content, if you want to see more of it, I implore you to hit the like button down there, the subscribe button, get your notifications going if you're into that, and possibly hit up the Patreon and become a contributing member to make all of this possible. Right now I'm bankrolling my entire operation. I ain't got that kind of scratch anymore. So if you feel like giving a hand, getting some free swag, and seeing more of the content you want to see, I suggest getting involved. Have a great day. Welcome to Comfortable Lies. I'm Harry Felker. Ta-da! Today we're going to talk about a subject that has a lot of contentious history, and I'm probably going to get a lot of hate over this. But, you know, that's what gets your attention, right, nowadays? So, we're going to talk about the friend zone. Humans, as a species that uses speech to communicate, has a very large problem. It's called term redefinition. People redefine their terms based on how they feel the term should be defined. For example, Roger Tracy Long, I believe he's a professor, did a talk about Zazelbrax, a object that's similar to the Washington Monument and also a large metal sphere. Now, it doesn't take a brain surgeon to realize that these are two very contradictory terms, because we all know what the Washington Monument looks like. Here's a picture. And we all know what a large metal sphere looks like. Also a picture. And they are not the same thing. So when someone says, yeah, that's a Zazelbrax, and someone goes, no, it's not a Zazelbrax because it's, you know, long and got a point at the top. It looks like an obelisk. And the other one goes, well, that's what a Zazelbrax is. And the other person goes, no, this is a Zazelbrax. What are you talking about? That's a large metal sphere. That's absolutely not a. This is what happens. This is how humans change language, and 9 times out of 10 it's done with very horrible intention. George Orwell, I believe everybody knows who George Orwell is, wrote a book, 1984, talks about Newspeak. Newspeak is basically based on this entire concept, where you can lead a society around by the nose just by changing what definitions mean. And it works wonders in controlling a population, and when members of the population decide that they want to change how they are perceived, or they want to manipulate how others see a situation that they may not be the victim of but they are the perpetrator of, to seem like the victim, this is one of the tactics they use. It's one of the many things in the narcissist's toolbook on how to make your victim seem like they're crazy to everybody that's supposed to care about them. So how does this relate to the friend zone? Because that was a whole big mouthful of stuff, and I didn't even talk about the subject. Well, I will tell you this, in the 80s and probably even before then, the term the friend zone was not unheard of. There's nothing new about the term in and of itself. How it was really defined back then was it was a manipulative behavior. The perpetrator, we'll call the perpetrator person A, would manipulate person B, the victim, into a relationship, feigning romantic interest. And then when it came time for person B to grow a sack and actually pursue romantic interest with person A, they would be like, no, we're just really good friends. All is well and good at that point. But the problem is, at the end of the day, when person B decides to move on to other relationships, person A then seeks to sabotage said relationships in order to maintain the benefits of friendship, the attention, or the emotional support, or even small-time financial support, or large-time financial support in some cases. This is where the term came from, the friend zone. The point is, initially the term was highly manipulative. It was signaling that person A wanted to be able to control person B and used person B's emotional state to manipulate them however they chose. That's what the friend zone was up until turn of the millennia, the early 2000s, when two vocal minorities managed to attempt to manipulate this term to their own agenda. I'll talk about the one that's easy to hate first, because there's two groups there, and one of them is not going to get people to just stop the video and start crying at me about how I hate people. But the incels, the young lady that created the term incel, was honestly just too busy for a relationship, and as such she became involuntarily celibate. It's not that she didn't want to have a relationship, it just never happened because she was always just too busy. And then the neckbeards came. The stereotypical, oh, you dwell in your mom's basement, wear a trilby that you call a fedora, and you're angry at women because they want to date guys who are physically attractive, and you have mold growing in the folds in your ass crack. Sorry guys, but there's no woman on the planet that probably will find you sexually attractive. You're probably better off just paying for sex, to be fair. That's not to say that they can't find love. Maybe they will. Who knows? I am not the knower of all things. But when they latched onto the whole idea of how they were involuntarily celibate because it was no fault of their own, that they didn't bother to exercise once in their entire life, leave their mom's house ever, become gainfully employed, and decide to move forward with their lives. Being sarcastic here, it's literally 100% their fault, just in case there are people who are out there that are a little slow and need to catch up. The fact is that they hijacked this term to be like, well, I spent all this time, in chat pages, and I mean, this goes all the way back to back when it was you had the dying robot to get online, and you were on AOL chat rooms and it goes back that far, early 2000s, before the real social media empire started rolling out. These individuals felt that, oh, I spent all this time talking to this girl. She, why is she not, throwing herself at her feet? Why am I not drowning in her pussy? Blah, 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 blah. She put me in the friend zone. And that's not what the friend zone is at all. She's not manipulating you. You played yourself. So in that sense, you put you in a friend zone. You manipulated yourself into thinking that if someone was nice to you, that they were attracted to you. I understand in our current day and age, men are emotionally starved. They literally are. It's, you know, men's mental health. It's a fucking joke in this world, and that's a shame, because, you know, we basically teach men to not be emotional creatures, and then we yell at them when they aren't emotional creatures. And then when they have emotions, we yell at them, no, not like that. It's sort of like, you know, the same argument that Republicans and you know, racists give the Black Lives Matter people that are burning cities. Well, we don't want you to protest like that. Well, we tried the knee and you said not like that. And we tried peacefully and you said not like that. Now we're going to burn shit down. And you're saying not like that either. Well, to be fair, we do this to men. We've been doing this to men since the dawn of time. So I do blame people for playing themselves, but it's not that it's 100% their fault. You know, socially, humans generally treat men as the expendable creatures that they are, and then expect them to act like they're not. Just the way it is. Sorry if that insults anybody. The second group, and the one I'm probably going to catch a lot more flame from, is the feminists. And their hijacking of the term, which they didn't really hijack the term. They took the hijacked term and said, well, that never happens. Okay, fair enough, that's not what the friend zone is. But to say that the friend zone doesn't exist, saying that people don't manipulate people by using promises of a romantic relationship to have all of the benefits of the romantic relationship without having to actually exchange anything for that romantic relationship. It's like acknowledging that, you know, heart disease is one of the leading causes of death in the country, but it's completely okay to be 300 pounds and never exercise. It's not really based in reality. It's saying, okay, well, we're just going to completely ignore the abusive psychological relationships that people have in order to give a free pass because we don't like the people complaining about how they played themselves. And we're going to completely just ignore everything that comes before then and just focus on this. A lot can be said about how feminists dealt with people complaining about the friend zone, in the fact that they chose to redefine it as something that never ever happens, and more times than not, it is a feminine phenomena against men, and generally when anything like that happens, especially third wave feminists have absolutely zero problem with women abusing men. They just have a problem with men abusing women. It has more to do with their politics, their stance, their philosophy than anything else. The reality is that yes, the neck beard is not in the friend zone, but that doesn't give the right for someone to just blanketly tell people, no, she doesn't owe you sex, because no one is saying that. No one, literally, no one but the neckbeards are saying that, and that's the whole problem about the widely vocal minority. People are saying that they don't deserve to be abused. And now a word from our sponsor.
Tired of waiting and watching the stars align alone? Are you looking to sacrifice townsfolk with a special someone? Feeling like the unspeakable horrors of descended and madness unloved? Cultist Mingle is right for you. Our expert Shoggoth will select just the right mate to take long walks on the shore seeking the rise of Relay. Cultist Mingle, putting the love in Lovecraft.
I sure enjoyed that message, didn't you?
Hell yeah.
So generally, how this relates to the whole Zazelbrak's newspeak statement at the beginning is that the turn of the millennia, the early 2000s, someone just decided that they wanted to revisit the definition of the term friend zone as to make themselves seem like the victim of something that they are a perpetrator in. And unfortunately, the other people decided to latch onto that definition because it made it really easy for them to just go, no, now look at how women are the victim of the patriarchy. And unfortunately, the reality is it's a door that swings both ways. I know plenty of dudes who have women lined up for casual sex every once in a while, but they're like, no, I just want to be friends. And they revolving door these chicks around, and that's how they live their lives, and it's kind of fucked up because they keep talking about how they want to settle down, and then they go and bang other chicks. And I know plenty of women who have throngs of dudes who do things for them, like anything from just being emotional support to being financial support, while they're feigning romantic interest. And it's very important that we understand that they have zero romantic interest in these people, but they're going to keep that act up for as long as they pay. I mean, we do have a whole economy based around this whole idea. If you go onto OnlyFans, you absolutely will be able to instantly find instances of this where women are absolutely willing to show you pictures of them in various states of undress, and one of the things that you can buy from them is good morning texts like, I'm your girlfriend. I mean, it's a marketable commodity to pretend that you have the social skills to have a girlfriend. And as long as you continue paying, she'll pretend, because she knows she doesn't have to go any further than the pretend of, oh, I'm going to just text you every morning, morning love, blah, 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 whatever. Disclaimer, I did not ever pay for any of those services. I could not be bothered. To be fair, I kind of prefer when I just don't get any texts on my phone. If I have to talk to somebody with my phone, I do it, and then that's it. I don't generally hope for random people to just start texting me in any point in the day. It's infuriating as fuck, especially because I work with my hands and I can't necessarily touch my phone. So, that being said, I think it's high time that we re-examine what's going on with language in our society. We need to stop allowing the perpetrators of manipulation, the perpetrators of emotional trauma, to redefine terms to make them seem like they are innocent. Because eventually, what's going to end up happening is you're going to have a situation where no one's going to be able to communicate with anybody anymore, because you're never really going to know what they're talking about, because everything has contradictory terms. So, in summation, just in case you decide to skip to the end, the friend zone exists. It's a tool that narcissists use to manipulate people into thinking that they are insane. They psychologically abuse people out of potential romantic relationships in order to maintain the platonic relationship they have with them. Furthermore, the term was hijacked by both ends of the worst of this conversation. And that was a great disservice, because it curtails the discussion on men's mental health that really needs to happen in our society. We can't continue along this path and expect our sons to grow up to be well-adjusted human beings if they can't express how they feel they're being manipulated. I think that's enough. Now, so in keeping what I've been doing with this series, The Comfortable Lie, the comfortable lie is there's no such thing as the friend zone, and every time someone complains about how a woman treats them, they're just being a pussy, which kind of is contradictory to the whole point of men need to be emotional creatures and there's nothing wrong with being a woman. I hate hypocrisy. Don't you hate hypocrisy? I hate hypocrisy. It is the shittiest way to be. Anyhow, thanks for watching. Little reminder, there's, the likes and the subscribes, and comment about something you want to hear about. Please, pretty please, with sugar on top. I'd love to hear from you. Love to hear what you think about this. Love to hear what you'd like to hear about. Bye.